visi guru AYU, mencapai misi yang satu, permisi kita bantu.
Tahniah, siaran langsung ini dibawakan khas kepada anda oleh Akademi YouTuber Malaysia. Tumpukan perhatian anda, siaran langsung akan bermula sebentar lagi. Link sijil akan diberikan di hujung siaran ini. Pastikan diisi dalam tempoh yang ditetapkan. Terima kasih.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh kepada semua para guru, ibu bapa dan anak-anak pelajar sekalian. Selamat datang ke Pusat Tuisyen Akademi YouTuber bersama e-didik Malaysia dan juga Kelab Guru Malaysia. #bermula percuma selamanya percuma. Sebelum kita mulakan kelas, marilah kita membaca Ummul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Untuk yang bukan Islam boleh bertafakur mengikut kepercayaan masing-masing. Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Okey, apa khabar adik-adik semua? Cikgu harap semua berada dalam keadaan baik dan juga bersedia untuk meneruskan kelas kita pada hari ini. Jadi cikgu percaya adik-adik semua dah tak sabar untuk meneruskan kelas kita hari ini. Jadi cikgu perkenalkan diri dahulu. Nama cikgu Nur Izian binti Saleh dari SMK Teluk Parlimen Garang, Selangor. Boleh panggil Cikgu Izian selaku moderator pada petang ini. Okey, pada petang ini kita bersiaran secara langsung dari channel Cikgu Hasnitah. Siapa yang belum subscribe, silalah tekan butang subscribe sebagai tanda sokongan kepada Cikgu Hasnitah. Nama beliau adalah Hasnitah binti Andi Mario dari SMK Bagan Jaya Butterworth, Pulau Pinang. Hari ini kita akan mempelajari mata pelajaran Fizik tingkatan 5 dengan tajuk 5.2 Semiconductor Diode. Part 1 untuk pelajar DLP, tapi pelajar bukan DLP juga boleh tanya soalan, tak ada masalah. Okay, kelas ini akan berlangsung lebih kurang 1 jam dan selain itu kita ada Cikgu Kok Simai yang daripada SMK Tinggi St. David Melaka. Selaku orang kuat hari ini, control host. Okay, jadi sebelum kita teruskan kelas kita, biasalah cikgu akan ingatkan untuk semua pelajar dan penonton yang ingin menghantar komen untuk menggunakan bahasa yang sopan dan gambar profil yang bersesuaian untuk tontonan umum. Cikgu percaya semua yang hadir kelas pada petang ini merupakan pelajar-pelajar yang cemerlang. Jadi mari kita tunjukkan disiplin yang terbaik. Okay, seperti biasa kita ada Chia Ying, Chia Yao, peminat setia kelas Tuisyen Akademi YouTuber. Okay, boleh share link kelas kita pada hari ini untuk ajak kawan-kawan yang lain untuk mendapat manfaat kelas kita pada hari ini. Okey, link isi sijil akan diberikan pada hujung siaran nanti. Pastikan diisi dalam tempoh 30 minit selepas kelas tamat. Okey, link isi sijil hanya dapat diisi dengan email e-didik, MOE, MyGuru dan Jawi sahaja. Okey, jadi sila fokus pada isi pelajaran yang akan disampaikan oleh Cikgu Hasnitah. InsyaAllah moga kelas kita pada hari ini dapat dimanfaatkan sepenuhnya oleh para pelajar. Okay, jadi tanpa membuang masa lagi, saya serahkan kelas kita kepada Cikgu Hasnitah.
Okey, terima kasih sahabat saya Cikgu Izian. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat petang dan selamat datang cikgu ucapkan kepada semua pelajar dari seluruh di mana jua anda berada. Anda boleh tulislah nama atau sekolah dekat live sekolah. Okey, dan juga kepada guru-guru dan kita pada kasih di atas semua pelajar. Okey, jadi petang ini cikgu akan sambung semua untuk kelas tingkatan 5 iaitu tajuk kita 5.2 diode semiconductor atau semiconductor diode adalah untuk pelajar DLP, tapi macam Cikgu Izian kata yang bukan DLP pun boleh ikuti juga kerana kita sediakan slide dalam dua bahasa. So insyaAllah mudah-mudahan membantu dan anda juga boleh respon pada soalan-soalan cikgu dan anda juga bolehlah bertanyakan soalan pada live chat tu insya-Allah akan cuba dijawab oleh cikgu, Cikgu Izian dan Cikgu Kop. Okay students, kalau anda sudah bersedia boleh tak dekat chat itu, sedia cikgu, ready teacher. Oh, if you can hear me clearly, you can respond on the live chat, clear teacher. Okay, Cia Ying boleh respon, Cia Yao dan siapa-siapa juga yang ada di talian bersama kita sekarang boleh juga respon. Okay, so cikgu tunjukkan dahulu ini adalah kelas kita pada minggu ini, telah berlangsung pada Jumaat lepas, kelas tingkatan 4 yang telah dikongsikan oleh Cikgu Rina Rashid, iaitu tajuk dia Hukum Gas Siri 1, dan minggu depan jangan lupa saksikan sambungannya untuk siri 2 akan disampaikan oleh Cikgu Izian. Betul Cikgu Izian? Untuk minggu depan. Okey, hukum gas, satu tajuk yang sangat menarik untuk dipelajari, dan untuk petang ini seperti yang anda lihat pada skrin, cikgu akan sampaikan 5.2 Semiconductor Diode. Okey, dan sebenarnya minggu ini adalah siri 1 untuk Semiconductor Diode, sebab tajuk ini pun agak panjang walaupun dia ada 2 learning standard sahaja. So untuk minggu satu lagi cikgu akan sambung untuk learning standard yang kedua. Okay students, okay Cia Ying clear, Cia Ying pun sudah sedia. Saya sentiasa ada. Alhamdulillah, terima kasih. Okay students, so without further ado, this is our learning standard for 5.2 Semiconductor Diode. Okay, so it has 2 learning standard. The first one is to describe the function of semiconductor diode. And second is to communicate about the function of semiconductor diode and capacitor as a rectifier. So as I mentioned earlier, for this week, I will cover the first learning standard only, 5.2.1, to describe the function of semiconductor diode. Untuk minggu ini kita bincang 5.2.1 dahulu, dan insyaAllah minggu hadapan kita akan sambung untuk standard pembelajaran yang kedua. Okay, sebelum cikgu lupa, anak-anak pelajar boleh dapatkan juga PDF copy untuk nota kita pada hari ini, telah cikgu kongsikan dan cikgu pinkan pada live chat. So you can print them out as well. Boleh juga cetak keluar untuk anda gunakan sebagai bahan ulang kaji. Okay. Okay students, so if you are ready to go, so first and foremost, you must know what is meant by semiconductor. Kita kena kenal apa itu semiconductor dahulu. Okay, so as you learn before, sudah belajar juga di lower form. Okay, we can classify material into these 3 category. Kita boleh klasifikasikan bahan kepada 3. The first one is insulator. Okay, example of insulator, Cia Ying, can you write example for insulator? Boleh tulis tak contoh-contoh bahan yang kita panggil sebagai penebat. Insulator means they cannot conduct electricity. Dia tidak boleh mengalirkan arus elektrik. Okay, so as you can see in the screen, kita ada kayu, we have a log there, and a few plastic items. So this is called as an insulator. Okay, and then down there we have a conductor. Okay, conductor commonly made from metal. Okay, so conductor, they can conduct electricity. Okay, and in the middle, okay, this is where semiconductor lies at. Situ ada semiconductor. Okay, so the word semi mean half. Separuh. Okay, tak tahu tak. So what is meant by semiconductor? It is a material that has electrical conductivity or resistance in between conductors and insulator. Semiconductor ini dia mempunyai kekonduksian elektrik ataupun rintangan di antara konduktor dan penebat. It means that it can conduct electricity in certain situation. Okay, it conduct electricity better than insulator, but poor than a conductor. Dia boleh mengkondensasikan electricity lebih baik daripada penebat, tetapi kurang daripada conductor. So it is in between, in the insulator and conductor. Okay. If you look at this insulator, students, why insulator cannot conduct electricity? Okay, if you look at the simulation there, this is the body of an insulator. It is consists of an atom. So atom means it consists of positive and negative ion. Okay, but for insulator, such as plastic, rubber, and glass, the electron are not free to move around the entire object. Okay, so they are generally restricted to move only around the atom they are attached to. So insulator, dia ada sebenarnya elektron, dia ada positif and negatif ion, tetapi ion dia tidak bebas bergerak ke seluruh bahagian. Okay, elektron dia hanya tertumpu kepada atom yang tertumpu saja. So it only move around the atom. Okay, the electron can only move around the atom, so it doesn't free to move anywhere. So that's why it cannot conduct electricity. While for conductor, if you look at the conductor down there, okay, which is commonly made from metal, most of the electron are free to move around, okay, within the conductor. So it free to move everywhere. So that's why we say conductor also always refers as a sea of electron. Untuk conductor ni, dia punya elektron tu dia tidak terikat kepada mana-mana atom. So they are free to move everywhere around the conductor. Dia boleh gerak ke sana kemari. So bila kita dekatkan satu bahan yang lain, so dia boleh mengkonduksikan elektrik. It will able to conduct electricity since the electron are free to move, okay, here and there around the conductor. Okay, so our focus today is on semiconductor. Again, I repeat, it is a material that has electrical conductivity or resistance in between conductors and insulator. Okay, tong sampah. Apa sampah tu? Tong sampah itu contoh pendebat ciayau. Yes, very good. Okay, so students, where is this semiconductor used at? Di mana kita gunakan semiconductor? Actually, it used in almost every sectors of electronics. Okay, kebanyakan sektor elektronik menggunakan semiconductor. For example, in the production of smartphones, digital cameras, television, washing machine, refrigerators, and LED bulbs. So this is all example of digital electronic product. Produk kita gunakan ini telefon pintar, kamera digital, television, semuanya di dalam itu dia ada electronic component yang diperbuat daripada semiconductor. So Ciayau mungkin boleh bagi tahu cikgu di Malaysia ini dekat mana negeri yang banyak kilang semiconductor. Mungkin kamu boleh tuliskan pada live chat. So this is the examples of product made from semiconductor material. Okay, students. So this is example of semiconductor. We have germanium and silicon. They are called as pure semiconductor element. Germanium dan silicon adalah semiconductor tulen. So you know what is the meaning of pure? It consists 100% of germanium and silicon atom. Dia tidak bercampur dengan atom yang lain. Okay. So if you look at the structure of germanium and silicon, okay, this is the chemical structure. Okay, silicon ini in the periodic table it lies in group 4. Dia berada dalam kumpulan yang keempat dalam jadual berkala, and this is her atomic number 284. Siapa belajar chemistry dia fahamlah apa maksud nombor ini. And germanium is 28184. So kalau you tengok di hujung 4 ini merupakan, this is the number of electron valence it have. Dia ada 4 free moving electron at the outermost shell. Dia ada 4. Okay, it has 4 electron in the outermost shell of a silicon and germanium atom, and each of these atom share its 4 electron valence with another 4 valence electron from other atom. Okay, and they will form a perfect covalent bond and leaving no free electron. So 4 ini dia akan kongsi 4 lagi electron valence daripada atom silicon yang lain. Same goes to germanium. The 4 electron valence will share another 4 from another 4 germanium atom. So dia akan bentuk ikatan kovalent yang sempurna. So tiada elektron bebas. Sebab itu dia adalah unsur yang stabil. Okay, kita panggil dia pure semiconductor and element. And apa berlaku? What happened to this semiconductor, silicon and germanium at low temperature? Pada suhu yang rendah, apa berlaku pada mereka? Pure silicon exists as an insulator. Okay, at low temperature, pure silicon or pure germanium act as an insulator because there is no free electron to conduct current. Okay, tadi cikgu kata semiconductor ini dia boleh conduct electricity dalam keadaan yang tertentu. Okay, it only able to conduct electricity in a certain condition. So at low temperature, it act as a insulator. So kenapa? sebab dia tak ada free electron pada suhu yang rendah, which mean the resistance of the semiconductor in a low temperature is very high. Rintangan dia pada suhu yang rendah adalah tinggi, so dia akan menjadi penebat. Okay, but what happen at the high temperature, students? At high temperature, this pure silicon will becomes a conductor. Okay, bila kita bekalkan haba kepada semiconductor, mean pada suhu yang tinggi dia akan bertukar menjadi conductor. Okay, kenapa? Sebab sebahagian elektron itu dia akan punyai tenaga yang cukup untuk melepaskan diri daripada ikatan dan menjadi elektron bebas. Okay, so rintangan dia pada waktu itu adalah rendah. So when we supply heat to the semiconductor, means the temperature will be increases. So at this high temperature, some of the electron will have a sufficient energy to break the bond between them and become a free electrons. So once they become a free electrons, so this will cause the resistance in the semiconductor to be low. So low resistance mean it become a better electrical conductor. Okay, so jelas ya, yang ini the difference in temperature will make the semiconductor become an insulator or become a conductor. Okay, next students. Okay, this is okay. What happened when this semiconductor release or become a free moving electron? So when the electron move freely around the atom, it will leave a hole. Okay, it will leave a hole. So this hole which is positively charged. Apabila elektron ni berjaya bebaskan diri daripada ikatan kovalent, so dia akan bergerak bebas. So ruang kosong yang dia tinggalkan itu kita panggil sebagai lohong. Okay, empty spaces it leaves, it hole, and this hole is positively charged. So from this we understand that there are two types of charge in semiconductor. It has negative charge carrier, which is electron, and another charge carrier which is called holes. Itu positive charge carrier. So semiconductor ini dia ada dua jenis pembawa charge. Yang charge negatif adalah elektron dan pembawa charge positif kita panggil lohong. Jangan panggil proton pula. Sometimes student dia dah biasa dah elektron negatif dan positif mesti proton. Actually adalah lohong. It is hole. So this is example of boron. This is example of phosphorus. Actually this one nanti kita belajar in the next. Okay, when we added boron into pure silicon and when we add phosphorus into pure silicon, what will happen to them? Okay. So students, okay, next. Okay, so just now I have what is semiconductor, example of pure semiconductor, and what happened conductor at high and low temperature. Remember, at low temperature they become an insulator. Pada suhu dia jadi penebat. Kenapa? Tak ada ilas. Temperature they become a conductor because as the kinetic energy increases, so they become a free moving electron. Okay, so kita tengok soalan yang kedua. Apa akan terjadi jika satu beza keupayaan dikenakan melintasi semiconductor? What will happen if a potential difference is applied across a semiconductor? Which means when we connect the semiconductor into power supply. Okay, we connect the semiconductor, apa akan berlaku? So kita boleh lihat dekat sini. Okay, so the moment you connect a semiconductor into a power cell or into a battery, so the free electrons will be attracted to the positive terminal of the power supply and will leave a hole. Okay, as you can see in this simple simulation. Okay, the orange dot is electron, so it attracted to the positive, so once it moves, so it will leave a hole. Okay, and this hole will be filled by the next electron. Setiap kali dia tinggalkan lohong itu akan diisi oleh elektron yang sebelahan. Okay, so the direction of the electron move to the left, which is to the positive terminal of the dry cell. Meanwhile, the hole or the positive charge carrier will move in the opposite direction. Okay, so you boleh lihat dekat sini, the electrons in the neighboring atom are then pushed to occupy this hole, the empty spaces left by the electron. So this process create another hole which later be occupied by other electrons, and this process happen continuously when the movement of electrons is in the opposite direction as the movement of the holes. And the movement of electron and hole is contribute to the flow of current. So it means that when we connect a dry cell or a power supply to a semiconductor in a correct way, so it will able to flow current in between the semiconductor. So elektron bebas tertarik pada terminal positif meninggalkan lohong. Okay, so setiap kali dia tinggalkan lohong, elektron yang di sebelah itu akan mengisi lohong yang kosong. Okay, elektron daripada atom jiran ditolak untuk mengisi lohong dan akan menghasilkan lohong yang lain dan akan diisi oleh elektron lain. So bila ini keluar, the first electron move up, leave a hole, the second electron will fill up the empty spaces and leave another hole in the second space. So the third electron will fill up the second spaces dan begitulah seterusnya. Okay, so pergerakan elektron adalah bertentangan dengan pergerakan lohong dan pergerakan kedua-dua ini akan menyumbang kepada pengaliran arus. So the current will flow in the opposite direction with the movement of electron. Arus akan mengalir pada arah yang bertentangan dengan arah pergerakan elektron. Okay, students. So far are you following me? You can respond in the live chat kalau anda boleh ikut cikgu, ataupun kalau cikgu mungkin terlalu, so you can tell me to slow down a bit. Okay, no problem. Okay, sekarang kita nak tengok students, apakah cara untuk meningkatkan bagi semiconductor. Okay, what ways to increase the electrical conductivity of a conductor? Actually, there are two. Okay, the first way I have told you earlier. Remember, a semiconductor will become a better conductor at a high temperature. And what will be the second way? Okay, so the first one is to increase the temperature. The heat supply by the temperature increase converted into kinetic energy of the electron. So remember, when the kinetic energy increases, so they can escape from the covalent bond and become a free moving electron. So yang pertama kita kena tambah suhu semiconductor. Okay, haba dibekalkan akan menyebabkan berlakunya pertambahan tenaga kinetik. So dia akan menyebabkan elektron itu terbebas daripada ikatan kovalent. Okay. And the second way is to adding impurities to the semiconductor through a process which is called as doping. Okay. Ini cara yang kedua, kita boleh tambahkan benda asing ke dalam semiconductor tulen melalui proses yang kita panggil sebagai pendopan. So this is a chemical process. Okay. Proses kimia lah, macam mana kita nak tambah. Okay, so dia ditambahkan secara kimia. So what is doping, student? Apa maksud pendopan? So doping refers to a process of adding impurities to pure semiconductor for what? To increase the electrical conductivity. Kita tambah benda asing, maknanya kita tambah atom lain. Okay, the impurities here means another atom. Okay, is added to semiconductor untuk apa? Untuk meningkatkan kekonduksian elektrik. Okay, dan kita tak boleh simply tambah sebarang atom Cikgu Izian, Cikgu Kok. Dia ada beberapa atom tertentu saja yang boleh kita tambah. Atom benda asing ni kita panggil dopant. Okay, the first one, the size must be about the same size of the semiconductor atom. Kita tak bolehlah tambah atom yang size dia terlalu kecil ataupun terlalu besar. Dia mesti just nice. Okay, to fill up the spaces in between the silicon atom. So ada dua jenis, sebenarnya ada dua jenis bahan yang boleh kita tambahkan. There are two types of dopant which we can add, which is later will give a name to the semiconductors. Okay, so finally we will have two type of semiconductors. The first one is called N-type semiconductor. The second one is called P-type semiconductor. So bergantung kepada apa yang kita tambah dalam semiconductor tulen itu, nanti kita akan dapat satu produk yang baru. Kita panggil dia semiconductor jenis N, satu lagi semiconductor jenis P. So what is this N-type and P-type semiconductor? Okay, so for N-type semiconductor, this will be produced when the pure semiconductor is doped with pentavalent atom, or we call as a donor atom. Okay, donor atom example is arsenic, phosphorus, antimony. Pentavalent atom means this atom has 3 electron valence. Okay, in the outermost shell. So, and the majority charge carrier for this pentavalent atom is electron. Okay, electron, and the minor charge carrier is holes. Okay, and for P-type semiconductor, okay, we will produce a P-type semiconductor when the pure semiconductor is doped with trivalent atom. Okay, example of trivalent atom is boron, aluminium, gallium, and indium. Okay, trivalent atom, tri means 3. Okay, they have 3 valence electron. Ini tadi pentavalent, it have 5 valence electron in the outermost shell. Okay, for this one, it has 3 valence electron in the outermost shell. So the major charge carrier is a holes and the minor charge carrier is electron. Okay, semiconductor jenis N. Okay, kita ada semiconductor tulen, kita tambah dengan pentavalent atom atau kita panggil sebagai atom penderma. Contohnya arsenik, phosphorus, antimony. Okay, so arsenik, phosphorus, antimony ini dia ada 5 elektron bebas di petala yang terluas sekali dan dia punya pembawa charge majority adalah elektron, iaitu charge negatif lah, dan pembawa charge minority adalah, maknanya dia ada lebih elektron daripada lohong untuk pentavalent atom ini. It has more number of electron compared to holes. And second is semiconductor jenis P. Okay, semiconductor jenis P kita akan hasilkan apabila kita tambahkan atom trivalent ataupun kita panggil sebagai atom penerima ke dalam semiconductor tulen. Boron, aluminium, gallium ini. So boron ini macam anda tengok dalam gambar, dia ada 3 valence electron. So pembawa charge majority dia adalah lohong, positive charges electron. So bila anda lihat, contoh gambar pertama ini, the first example, ini to produce N-type semiconductor. So this is all silicon atom. Okay, so we added antimony. Sb itu antimony. Okay, antimony ini tadi pentavalent atom. Okay, remember just now silicon has 4 valence electron. Okay, while antimony has 5. So now the valence electron become 9. Ada 9. 4 plus 5 become 9. So it has 1 excess electron here. Dia ada 1 elektron lebih. So that's why we call it as a N-type semiconductor because it has 1 excess of electron. Okay, while for P-type, okay, this is pure silicon atom. Ini atom silicon tulen, ini atom semiconductor tulen, and we add in boron. Kita masukkan boron, kita tambah dengan boron. Boron ini example of trivalent atom. Okay, so silicon has 4 and boron has 3. So when we add becomes 7. Okay, 7. It's supposed to be 8. So 7 mean it has lack 1 electron. Dia ada kurang 1 elektron, which means the lack 1 electron itu will be a hole. So dia ada, that's why it become P-type semiconductor. P-type ini mean positive type semiconductor. Okay, N-type ini means a negative type of semiconductor. Dia ada excess 1 electron. This one lack 1 electron, which mean dia ada 1 free holes di sana. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this. N-type and P-type semiconductor. Macam mana kita hasilkan semiconductor jenis N dan semiconductor jenis P. Okay. Okay, students, so that is the first part, the introduction to semiconductor. So I hope now you have a clear picture on what semiconductor is and how does semiconductor is produced. Okay, so now we will enter our first learning standard, which is to describe the function of semiconductor diode. Kita baru nak masuk. Tadi cikgu bagi intro apa itu semiconductor sahaja. Okay, so this one is to describe the function of semiconductor as a diode. Okay. Biasa dengar tak diode, ciayau, ciayin. Tahu tak diode kita guna untuk apa? Okay, students, if you know what is the function of a diode, you can share your thoughts or your idea in the live chat before. Jangan malu, don't feel hesitate to share your opinion. Okay, students. So in Malaysia, okay, or in anywhere around the world, normally the transmission of electrical power to consumers and network is in the form of alternating current. Biasanya kita hantar tenaga elektrik kepada pengguna melalui rangkaian. Kalau di Malaysia kita panggil national grid lah, okay, dalam bentuk arus ulang alik. Okay, alternating current. Okay, but in our daily life, many of the electrical appliances can only function with direct current. Okay, tapi dalam kehidupan kita ni, banyak peralatan elektrik yang kita gunakan, dia kebanyakannya menggunakan arus terus. Okay, for example, ini refrigerators, TV, radio and so on, computers, most of them are used direct current. But we are supplied with alternating current. So, which means in order to use all these devices, we must convert the alternating current into direct current. Then only it will be able to function. Kalau kita nak guna, kita kena tukar arus terus kepada arus ulang alik. Barulah alat-alat ini dapat berfungsi. So the question here is how to convert this alternating current into direct current. Macam mana kita nak tukar arus ulang alik kepada arus terus? Ciayau tahu. Okay, ciayau macam mana nak tukar arus ulang alik kepada arus terus? Okay, students, how to convert the alternating current into direct current? Okay, so this is the question we try to answer. Okay. So, if you go through your textbook, there will be activity 5.4 discussing about the function of a semiconductor diode. So actually to answer the question, how to convert alternating current into direct current, it can be done with the help of one electronic component named as diode. Kita boleh gunakan diode untuk menukar arus ulang alik kepada arus terus. Okey, kalau dia tanya dalam soalan, apa alat yang boleh kita gunakan? Apa komponen yang boleh kita guna untuk tukarkan arus ulang alik kepada arus terus? So jawapan dia adalah diode, semiconductor diode. We can use diode to convert AC into DC. Okay, if you read through this activity in your textbook, this is the aim to discuss the function of semiconductor diode, and this is all the apparatus required. We need a diode, a dry cell as a power supply, cell holder, a bulb to see the effect, and the connecting wire. So it is a very simple circuit. Circuit dia senang sahaja. Okay, and this is the instruction as follow. You can read from number 1 until number 4. So first we connect the diode in forward bias. Later we will discuss what is forward bias and reverse bias refers to, as shown in the first figure. Okay, the positive terminal of the dry cell connect to the anode, okay, and the negative terminal connected to the cathode. Okay, observe the bulb and record your observation. Okay, and second, we reverse the connection of the dry cell. Now the diode is become reverse bias, and again you observe what happened to the bulb and record your observation. So if you look at this diagram, what is the difference? Apa perbezaan kedua gambar raja ini kalau anda lihat? Okay, this is the symbol for diode, students. Okay, this is the symbol for diode. This is the symbol for bulb. Okay, and this is the symbol for dry cell. Okay, if you look here, the diode is connecting in the same way and the bulb is placed in the same position, but they are different in the way we place the dry cell. Ini yang panjang ini is positive terminal, negative terminal, positive terminal, negative terminal of the battery. But this one we reverse. Okay, this one positive on top, negative terminal below, but this one we reverse. Kita terbalikkan bateri. Ni negatif di atas and positif di bawah. Okay, and definitely you will see a different result in both circuit. Kita akan lihat ada satu yang mentol menyala, satu lagi mentol tidak menyala. So can you guess in which circuit the bulb able to light up and in which circuit the bulb does not able to light up? Dekat mana yang mentol menyala? Dekat mana yang mentol tidak menyala? Is it circuit A or circuit B? Okay, you can guess. Cik Ayau. Okay. Okay, then students, okay, so we go to the discussion first. What is the function of diode in this activity? Apa kegunaan diode dalam aktiviti ini? So students, in this activity, the diode will function to allow current to flow in one direction only. Apa kegunaan diode? Membenarkan arus mengalir dalam satu arah sahaja. Satu arah sahaja mean one way lah, direct current. It allow direct current to flow but not able alternating current to flow through. So allow current to flow in one direction only. Okay, and then we state the condition when a diode allow current to pass through it. So if you read the instruction, okay, we conducted this activity in two ways. The first one, the diode is made to become a forward bias. Okay, and the second, the diode is set to become a reverse bias. Okay, dalam pertama, kita pasangkan litar itu, kita jadikan diode itu sebagai pincang depan. Okay, yang kedua, jadikan dia sebagai pincang songsang. So in which condition it able to allow current when it become a forward bias? Apabila diode berada dalam keadaan pincang depan. Nanti cikgu akan bincang dengan lebih lanjut what is meant by forward bias, what is meant by reverse bias. Okay. For question 3, if the dry cell is changed to alternating current power supply, what will happen to the bulb? Okay, we take an example here. Okay, let's say we took out this dry cell and we connect with an alternating power supply. AC dia punya simbol macam inilah, macam huruf S. Okay, alternating current supply mean the current can flow in two ways, two direction. So what will happen to the light bulb now, student? Apa akan jadi pada mentol sekarang? Okay, can you guess? When we take out this dry cell, which is a direct current power supply, and we change to an alternating power supply. Alternating mean it can flow in two ways. Flows in this direction, and another ways it flows from the opposite direction through the diode and through the bulb. Okay, so what will happen if the dry cell now change to alternating power supply? Okay, so the answer is the bulb will light up and light off alternately. Dia akan berkelip-kelip. Okay, dia akan berkelip-kelip. Okay, kenapa? Nanti kita tengok contoh di sini. Okay, so if you look at this example, student, in the first diagram, this is the diagram represents circuit A. Okay, and this is the diagram which represent circuit B. Okay, I erase this first. Okay, this is the diagram which represents circuit B. Okay. In circuit A, what happened? Okay, this is our diode. Okay, this is the symbol for our diode. When you are asked to draw a circuit diagram, you shouldn't draw the exact component. Jangan lukis komponen yang sebenar. Okay, if you are asked to draw a circuit diagram, so this is how we draw a circuit diagram. This is the symbol for dry cell. Tak perlu lukis battery. Okay, and this is the symbol for bulb. Normally the symbol for bulb, it is represented by X. You draw a circle and X mark at the middle. Okay, represent bulb. And this is represent diode. Okay, so diode, it has it has two legs. Dia ada dua kaki. So the first leg itu positive leg, which is called anode. Okay. So this is P-type semiconductor. Okay, and the front part ini, this is if you look at this arrow, so we can call this as a tail. Ini dia punya ekor. Okay, the tail is an anode. Okay, or a positive, which is made from P-type semiconductor. While the head ini is called as cathode. Okay, cathode mean dia ini negative terminal. Negative terminal because it is made from N-type semiconductor. semiconductor. So when you connect a diode into a dry cell, the positive terminal of a dry cell must be connected to the anode, the positive side of the anode. And the negative must be connected to the negative terminal of the battery. Then it will become a forward bias. Kita panggil dia pincang depan. Bila dia pincang depan, dia boleh mengalirkan arus. Okay, so that's why the bulb is light up. Okay, but what happened in circuit B? Now we reverse the connection of the dry cell. Okay, this is the anode. Okay, positive terminal of the anode and this is the negative terminal. If you see now, the negative terminal of the battery connected to the positive terminal of the anode. So it doesn't match. Dia tak ngam. Okay, sepatutnya positif sambung pergi positif. Then only it will allow current to flow through the diode and light up the bulb. So this one we call as a reverse bias. Ini kita panggil pincang songsang. Okay, so that's why when we take out this battery and we replace with alternating current macam ini. So alternating current flows in two ways. So when it flows in this way, the diode become forward bias. So the bulb light up. Okay, and in the second way, when the current flows in this way, so now it cannot enter because the diode become a reverse bias. So at this moment, the bulb will be light off. So that's why the current keep flowing in both direction alternately. So we will see the bulb light up and light off alternately. Sebab itu you akan lihat lampu itu dia akan blinking, dia akan menyala dan padam berselang-seli bila kita gunakan arus terus. Sebab diode ini akan menjadi dua. The first cycle dia akan jadi forward bias, second cycle dia akan jadi reverse bias. Okay. Waalaikumsalam, selamat petang Cikgu Syukur. Terima kasih join kelas kita pada petang ini. Okay students, so what is the conclusion we can make from this simple activity? Okay, so for this one you can know what is a semiconductor diode. Kita boleh kenal apa itu semiconductor diode. The first one, it is an electronic component which is made from combination of N-type and P-type semiconductor. Okay, so this is the exact diagram for diode. Okay, actually we have a few types of diode. You can Google from the net. So this is the basic. Okay, the basic structure of a diode. It consists of two legs. So one leg ini is anode, which is positive, which made from P-type semiconductor, and another leg is negative. Negative we call as a cathode. Negative because it is made from N-type semiconductor. So this is the combination. P-type and N-type we join together, so it will form a diode. Bila kita gabungkan P-type semiconductor dengan N-type semiconductor, maka terhasillah diode. Okay, so ini tadi positive leg, the tail, and this is negative terminal, cathode, the head. Okay, so ingatlah head itu negative, cathode, the tail is positive, anode. And what is the function of this diode? Is to allow electric current to flow in one direction only. Dia berfungsi untuk membenarkan arus mengalir dalam satu arah sahaja. Ataupun kita boleh katakan digunakan untuk menukarkan arus ulang-alik kepada arus terus, to convert alternating current into direct current. Okay, so I hope you are clear now what is meant by semiconductor diode. So you know diode is a combination between P-type and N-type semiconductor. Okay, and it function to allow current to flow through in one direction only. Okay. So it's a very simple activity. So now you know what is the function of a diode. Okay, now we want to look at the next part. What is PN junction? What is depletion layer? What is junction voltage? Apa itu simpang PN? Apa itu lapisan susutan? Dan apa itu voltan simpang? Okay, so these are the three terms which you have to understand and know very well. Okay, kita lihat Cikgu Izian, Cikgu Kop. Slide yang seterusnya. Okay, students. Okay, so this is the structure of a diode. So you can see this short simulation also showing a diode made from combinations of p-type and n-type semiconductor. Okay, so the semiconductor p-type and n-type are brought together. So what happened? A p-n junction is formed when n-type and p-type semiconductor are joined together. So this is the junction. Okay, you can see the junction is at the center. So you can call it as a border, sempadan di antara p-type and n-type. Okay, and what happened at this junction? Okay, the boundary between p-type and n-type region is called the p-n junction. Dia punya border, dia punya sempadan. Okay, p-type ini if you refer to this diagram, p-type is on the left, n-type is on the right. So the border is called as a p-n junction. So what happened at this p-n junction? Apa akan berlaku di persimpangan p-n ini? Okay, so at this junction, electron from the n side move to the p side and will be recombined with the hole. So when we brought together p-type and n-type, so students, the electrons from the n-type will drift to the p-type. Elektron ini dia akan pindah, dia akan menyeberangi sempadan pergi ke p-type. Okay, whereas at the same time, the hole from the p side, hole ini positive charges. The hole from the p side similarly move to the n side, okay, where they combine with the electron. So senang saja, we brought p-type and n-type together, they will form a p-n junction. And what will happen at this junction? The electron from the n-type jump to the other side. Okay, while the hole from the p-type jump to the other side. Dia bertukar tempat. Okay, and what happen when they are jumping from one side to another? Apa akan berlaku seterusnya apabila elektron dan lohong ini menyeberangi sempadan? So what happened then? Okay, so if you see in the next slide, a depletion layer which is no charge carrier will be formed nearby the junction. Apabila elektron dan lohong tadi bertukar tempat, they are crossing the border, changing places to one and another, a depletion layer which has no charges carrier form nearby the junction. Dia akan membentuk satu lapisan susutan yang tiada pembawa cas, terbentuk berhampiran dengan simpang. So this depletion layer you can see in this diagram. Okay, the lapisan susutan ini, the depletion layer, and later it will produce a junction voltage. So in this depletion layer, what happened? The depletion layer at the n-type will be positively charged. Okay, tadi sini hole sudah pindah ke sini kan. So this side will be filled with positive charges. Whereas earlier, the electron from the n-type jump or drift to the other side, which means at this layer, it will fill up with electron or negative charges. So we say the depletion layer at the n-type side will be positively charged, whereas the depletion layer at this p-type side will be negatively charged. Mereka bertukar charge. Okay, so when this happens, students, this will result a junction voltage. Okay, which prevent the charge carrier from drifting across the junction. So bila terbentuknya lapisan susutan ini, dia akan menghasilkan satu voltan simpang. Okay, voltan simpang ini apa tujuan dia? Untuk menghalang pembawa charge menghanyut dan merempat. So once the junction voltage is formed, it will stop another electron from the n-type to cross over. And it will stop another hole from the p-type to cross over. So dia akan prevent. So what is the value for junction voltage in a semiconductor? Okay, so for silicon and germanium, as I mentioned just now, okay, so silicon has a junction voltage approximately about 0.6 volt. And for germanium, it is lower, which is about 0.1 volt. Dia punya simpang voltan untuk germanium dan silikon. Apa maksud dia? It means that if you connect this semiconductor silicon to a power supply, so the voltage supply by the dry cell must be above 0.6 volt. Then only the diode can allow current to pass through. Okay. Meanwhile, if you connect a diode made from germanium, which has a voltage junction of 0.1 volt. When you connect to a dry cell, the dry cell must access 0.1 volt. Then only the diode can function to allow current to pass through. Dia mesti atasi nilai voltan simpang ini. Okay, it must exceeded the voltage applied across the diode must be exceeded the junction voltage. So what is the junction voltage? Again, for silicon 0.6 volt, for germanium 0.1 volt. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this, how diode function as a semiconductor. Okay. So kita nak masuk bahagian yang terakhir lah untuk hari ini sebelum kita tengok beberapa latihan Cikgu Yan dan Cikgu Kok. Okay, this is how to differentiate student forward bias and reverse bias diode. Okay, actually this diagram you can found in your textbook. Okay. So on the left side is a diode which is placed in a forward bias circuit. So where is our diode? This is our diode. Again, consists of p-type and n-type semiconductor. And this is the dry cell positive terminal. You can see now the positive terminal is connected to the anode. Okay, positive terminal connected to the anode. Anode means p-type. So positive and positive. That's why it become a forward bias. Okay, negative side of the battery connected to the cathode, the n-type of the semiconductor. So in this arrangement, we call the diode as a forward bias, pincang depan. So pincang depan mean arus boleh mengalir, so anda akan lihat mentol akan menyala. Okay, the current can flow, so the bulb will be light up. And this is on the right, showing the diode is arranged in a reverse bias condition. Okay, reverse bias mean this is our dry cell. The negative terminal, how to differentiate positive and negative terminal? Very simple. For dry cell, the long line itu shows positive terminal. Kadang-kadang ada pelajar tak tahu, kita bagi tahu. Yang pendek itu is negative terminal. So in negative terminal of the battery now connected to the anode, positive side of the diode. And the positive terminal of the dry cell now connected to the cathode, negative side of the diode. So we call it as a reverse bias. So reverse bias, what happens to the current not allowed to flow, so the bulb does not light up. Ingat pincang, songsang, arus tidak mengalir, maka mentol tidak menyala. Okay, so anda boleh baca di sini. The hole move toward the n-type semiconductor, electron move toward the p-type. So depletion layer become thinner. So di sini. So in this forward bias arrangement, electron from n-type drift to the p-side, while hole from the p-side can drift to the n-type. So this will make the depletion layer become thinner. Thinner means the resistance will be lower. So current able to flow. But for this one, since we connect the negative terminal of the battery to the P side, so the hole will be attracted to the negative terminal of the battery, and the electron from the n-type attracted to the positive terminal. So they will drifting away from each other. Okay, they will move further from the junction, so will causes the depletion layer to become thicker. So bila dia gerak ke arah bertentangan, menjauhi satu sama lain, so lapisan susutan ini akan menjadi lebar. Okay, which mean the resistance will become higher. So when the resistance become higher, definitely the current will not able to flow. Sini dia akan tulis. Okay, yang ini layer thinner, so the resistance very small. For this one, the layer become thicker, so causes the resistance to be increases. So as the result, for the forward bias, current flow through the diode and the bulb light up. Meanwhile, for the reverse bias circuit, the current stop flowing and the bulb does not light up. Okay, and students, earlier I have shared to you one link to show the simulation on this reverse and forward bias diode. Okay, so if you click link, mungkin kongsikan link simulasi itu supaya mungkin cuba untuk litar pincang songsang dan litar pincang hadapan lah untuk diode ini. Okay, mana kamu? So if you click the link, students, Okay, so you can see the diode in forward and reverse bias. Okay, so this is our diode. Okay, this is our diode. This is the P and N junction. Okay, and this is our power cell. So how to do this? Okay, now this is unbiased. Unbiased means the cell is not connected to the circuit. If you click this forward bias, okay, so you can see now the positive terminal connected to the anode, okay, the P type, and the negative terminal of the battery connect to the cathode, which is the N type. So the electron and hole are drifting from one side to another, so causing the current able to flow in the circuit. And if you click this for reverse bias, okay, reverse bias, what happened? The positive terminal of the battery now connected to the cathode, negative side. Negative terminal battery now connected to the anode. So you can see the current flowing because now electron will be attracted to this positive terminal and hole attracted to this negative terminal. So they are moving away from the depletion layer. So by that, current is stopped flowing. Okay, again, you can click for forward bias. So the current flows again. Okay. Okay, so you can try this simulation on your own. Okay lah, sekarang sudah pukul 2.55 petang. So Cikgu Izian, sebelum kita tengok beberapa contoh soalan, apa kata kita berehat seketika ya?
Okey, kita boleh berehatlah seketika. Adik-adik boleh pergi ambil air dulu ke? Okey, silakan Cikgu Kok.
Berita baik untuk semua. Kini Akademi YouTuber memperkenalkan sistem mata gancaran kredit AYU untuk dikumpul. Jom ikuti kelas tuisyen live AYU untuk mengumpul kredit AYU dan berpeluang menebus hadiah-hadiah yang menarik. Hadiah bernilai lebih RM10,000 disediakan secara percuma untuk pelajar seluruh Malaysia. Apa tunggu lagi? Tebus ganjaran hebat ini sekarang. Layari www.academyyoutuber.com untuk maklumat lanjut.
Okey, kembali kita di kelas tuisyen Fizik tingkatan 5 bersama kita dengan Cikgu Hasnitah. Okey, kita boleh teruskan pada Cikgu Hasnitah lah. Silakan Cikgu Hasnitah. Cikgu Hasnitah mungkin ada okey ke? Okey.
Boleh ya? Okay. Okay, kita teruskan. Okay, pelajar, I hope you are doing good so far with this diode. Kalau anda boleh ikut cikgu, mungkin anda boleh respon pada live chat, faham. Sebenarnya tajuk ni tak susah ya. Okay, mari kita tengoklah beberapa contoh soalan berkenaan dengan diode. Okay, apa fungsi diode sebagai semiconductor. Okay, Cia dengan Cia yang lain-lain pun boleh cuba kita tengok beberapa contoh soalan untuk kertas satu dahulu. Soalan ni soalan di aras yang mudah lah. Okay, aras yang pertama atau yang kedua. Okay, so in this first question, you are given a diagram. Show the symbol for an electronic component. So we just learned about this symbol just now. So what is the function of this electronic component shown in this diagram? Okay, student, first and foremost to know the function. So you must know what is the diagram first. Nak tahu fungsi dia apa, kena kenal dulu. Ini apa ni? Ini simbol untuk apa? So ini simbol untuk diode. Okay, so this is the tail, the anode or the positive, the P-type semiconductor, and this is the head. Kepala dia made from N-type semiconductor, cathode, negative charges. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Answer is C. So this is a symbol for diode. Apa fungsi diode? Membenarkan arus mengalir dalam satu arah saja, to allow current to pass in one direction only. Jawapan cikgu ni ada terpotong sedikit lah, ada depan tu, allow current to pass in one direction only. Okay, so very good, answer is C. Okay, let us try the next question. Okay, student, this is the second diagram. It shows a PN junction diode. Remember, diode is made of a combination of P-type and N-type semiconductor. So in between, there is a junction, PN junction in between the P-type and N-type. So when the switch is on, the bulb light up because apabila kita nyalakan switch, kita tutup switch ini, maknanya litar ini complete lah. So mentol menyala. Kenapa mentol menyala? So kalau anda lihat, boleh perhatikanlah sambungan bateri dan sambungan pada diode. Remember, positive terminal of the battery must be connected to the P-type. Okay, and negative terminal must be connected to the N-type. So kalau anda lukis simbol untuk diode dalam soalan ini, so anda lukis macam inilah. This is the tail, the P-type. Okay, and this is the head. Dia macam ni. So arus mengalir macam ini. So it can pass through the diode because the direction is the same. So which one? A, B, C, D. A, depletion layer become thinner and increase the resistance. Thinner ini betul lah, depletion layer become thinner. But is it increase the resistance? Sebenarnya resistance dia berkurang. So A ini wrong. Okay. For B, depletion layer become thinner. Yes, betul. Ini correct. Depletion layer become thinner is correct. And decrease the resistance. Yes. So this one, the diode is in forward bias or reverse bias. So when the bulb light up, we understand. Now the diode is in forward bias. Pincang depan. Pincang depan, lapisan susutan menjadi nipis. Depletion layer become thinner. And the resistance become lower. Rintangan dia berkurang. Okay, C. Depletion layer become wider. Ini you boleh cancel lah. Dah salah dah. Ini pun depletion layer become wider. So salah. So the answer is B. Yes, Farisha. Very good. The answer is B. Depletion layer become thinner. Decrease the resistance. So allow current to pass through because now the diode is in forward bias. Pincang depan. Okey, kita tengok contoh soalan yang ketiga. Okey, ini adalah gambar rajanya. The diagram show two sets of identical bulb. Identical bulb itu dia samalah. Power dia sama consumption. Okay, diode are connected into two circuits. So this is our diode. This is the position in circuit P and this is the position of our diode in circuit Q. And you have to look at the position of the dry cell. Tengok position of the dry cell. Ini positive terminal. This is negative terminal for circuit Q. For P, ini positive. This is negative. Remember, in order to allow the bulb to light up, positive terminal must be connected to the P type of the diode. So, you boleh lukis semula. Okay, this is our diode. Remember, the tail is positive and not. The head is negative. Okay, thought mean if you want the bulb to light up, this tail must be connected to the positive terminal of the battery. Okay, the tail must be connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So which one will light up, student, when the switches are closed at the same time? Chia Ying say A, Chia Yao say B. Okay, Farisha say B. Okay, yang mana? So, yang mana? P. Okay, kita tengok P, student. So, for P, okay, this is the direction of current. Remember, student, current flow from positive terminal of the battery. So, here is reverse bias. Diode is now reverse bias. So the current cannot enter, cannot flow through in P. So the diode, the bulb does not light up. Okay, but what happened in circuit Q? Okay, this is the direction of current from the positive terminal of the battery. And now it can enter because the tail is positive. So it allowed to pass through the diode. So pass through the bulb and finally the bulb light up. Okay, so the answer is C. Circuit P does not light up. Circuit Q, the bulb light up. Okay, you tengok saja kedudukan diode dengan kedudukan bateri. Okay, next. Okay, next question. Okay, this diagram shows a circuit consisting of diode, bulb and batteries. So this is diode, this is bulb, and this is our battery. Ada yang satu battery, ada yang dua battery. So when the switch is on, which of the bulb in the diagram will be light up? Bila kita tutup switch, tutup ni maksud dia switch dia on lah, kita sambung. Okay, A, B, C, O, D. So you have to check which diagram the diode is in forward bias and which diagram the diode is in reverse bias. Okay student, for this question, what is your answer? Okay, Chia Ying, Sesi, Chia Ya. Sorry ya, cikgu lupa nak letakkan nombor soalan. Okay, ini soalan yang berapa ni? Soalan yang keempat. Okay, so we check first. Okay, so A. So A, this is the battery. Okay, so this is how the current flow. Sini dia letak lagi satu battery and this is our diode. Okay, for C, kita tengok sini. This is the current flow from the positive terminal of the battery. But now the diode is in reverse bias. So current cannot enter. Stop there. So this one is wrong. Who says C is wrong? Okay, for B. Okay, for B ini, what happened? This is how the current flow and our diode is now in forward bias. So the current will be flow. Okay, yang ini tadi you kena tengoklah battery. Ini battery positif. Okay. Dan sini lagi battery, ada satu battery lagi tapi dia positif terminal juga. So current boleh masuk tak yang ini? So you have to check through the position of it. Then the third, okay, this is the battery. Okay, ini. So battery ini negative terminal, sini negative terminal, sini negative terminal. Short leg itu negative terminal. So battery ni dah sambung terbalik dah. Okay, so for diagram D, the connection of the battery is already a problem. Sepatutnya kalau you guna dua battery, you kena sambung macam inilah. Okay, dia baru boleh flow. Current flow. But this one now, positive and positive battery are made. So this one current cannot flow. So actually A and D itu similar. So the answer is boy. Okay, yeah, answer is boy for this question. Okay, ini position battery ini silap lah. Okay, so answer is boy. This one forward bias. Okay, next question student. Okay, very good for those who are answering correct. Yang salah boleh cuba lagi. Okay, our next question student. Which circuit show forward bias arrangement for diode? Sama juga, kita ada dry cell, ada bulb and ada diode. Okay, which one forward bias? Forward bias mean positive terminal of battery mesti jumpa dengan anode. Okay, kalau you lukis diode macam ini. Okay, so this is positive terminal of battery must meet the positive side of the diode, which is the tail. Ini negative, must be connected to the negative terminal of the battery. Then only it become a forward bias. Current can flow, so the bulb light up. Okay, A, forward bias or reverse bias? Okay, this is the current flow from the positive terminal of the battery. But now the diode is reverse. So this one reverse bias. Okay. How about B? Again, the battery is already a problem. Okay. So this one, no current flow in the circuit. Okay. How about this one? C. This is the positive terminal. So now the diode is in forward bias. So yes. But we check for D first. Okay. We check for D. Okay. Battery, no problem. Okay, so this is how the current flow. But now the diode is reverse bias. So our answer for this question is C. Yeah, very good. Okay, senang saja soalan ini. Okay, kita tengok contoh soalan terakhir untuk objektif. Cikgu Izian, Cikgu Kok. Okay, when the switch is closed, remember student, switch closed mean it is connected. Okay, so switch closed mean the switch is on. Okay, so which bulb will light up? Okay, so this is our circuit. We have three bulb there, P, R, and Q. And we have two diode, one in this position, another one is in opposite. So if you study the circuit, the current flow in this direction. Okay, so it enter the first junction and the current enter the second junction. Okay, the first junction, it can pass through the diode. Yes, it can pass through because the diode is now forward biased. So current flow towards P and towards R, the circuit is complete, mean P and R is switched on. How about Q? Okay, this is the current flow But now our diode here is reverse bias, mean current cannot enter. So the circuit here is not complete, so which mean bulb Q does not light up. Untuk soalan ini dua saja yang menyala, P and R. Okay, Q does not light up because the diode is in reverse bias. Ciayin betul si Ciaya jawapan dia. Ini C Okay. Okay, kita tengoklah contoh beberapa soalan untuk kertas 2 pula. Okay, you are given this diagram. It shows a semiconductor diode by a student. Okay, when the switch is closed by the student, the bulb does not light up. Okay, dia pasang macam ni, bulb sambung pada diode, sambung pada switch, sambung pada sel. Tapi bila dia tutup switch ini, remember switch closed means it is on. Okay, kenapa mentol tidak menyala? Okay, student. First, in the space below, draw a circuit diagram for this figure. Okay, kita lukis dulu gambar Raja Litar. Okay, this is the actual diagram for all the electric or electronic component. So to draw the diagram or the circuit, this is how we represent dry cell. And this is how we represent the switch. This is how we represent the bulb and the diode. Okay, sekarang dia tengok bulb does not light up. It means when you draw the diode, it must be in reverse bias. Okay, so ini reverse bias lah. Negative terminal connected to the P-type. Positive terminal connected to the N-type. Draw in reverse bias. Kalau you draw in forward bias, so the diagram will be wrong. Okay. Next, why the bulb does not light up? State the characteristic of the diode causes the bulb is not light up. So ada dua saja, either the bulb is forward bias or reverse bias. Forward bias mean the bulb light up. Reverse bias, the bulb does not light up. So in this case, our bulb is not light up because now the diode is in a reverse bias. Okay, diode is reverse bias. Diode sekarang dalam keadaan pincang songsang, ataupun yang boleh tuliskan diode benarkan arus mengalir dalam satu arah saja. Diode allow current to flow in one direction only, but I prefer the first answer lah sebab dia tanya the characteristic which now the diode is in reverse bias. That's why the bulb does not light up. Okay, so second question, state the correction should be done to the connection of the circuit to make the bulb light up. Sekarang you kena betulkan litar supaya mentol boleh menyala. So apa yang boleh kita lakukan? So you can change the terminal of the battery where the positive terminal of the battery have to be connected to the anode of the diode, or the positive terminal of the battery must be connected to the P-type. Okay, of the diode. Terminal positif perlulah disambung kepada anode ataupun terminal positif bateri perlu disambungkan kepada bahagian P lah, semiconductor jenis P. Okay, to the P side. Then only it will become forward bias. Okay, kita tengok contoh soalan yang kedua. Okay, soalan yang kedua, soalan struktur senang saja. Kita ada litar input di sini, ini kita punya power supply. Okey, ini maknanya kita sambungkan dengan arus ulang alik, the symbol S, arus ulang alik. Okay, ini soalan dalam bahasa Melayu, ini soalan dalam bahasa Inggeris. And this is our, kita put one electronic component here which is X, and this is the final signal. Kita tengok pada OSK. OSK you have learned last week with Mr. Pei. Boleh tengok semula video Mr. Pei on OSK, cathode ray oscilloscope. Okay students, okay, first name the type of current at the input signal. Okay, ini input signal. You will see a sinusoidal wave. Sinusoidal wave ini shows that the current flow in two direction. So we understand the input signal is a alternating current. Okay, alternating current. The current flow in both direction. Okay. Meanwhile, for the output signal, ini kita punya output signal. This is the pattern of the wave form in our OSK, cathode ray oscilloscope. Dia ada atas saja. It form one side only. So one side only means the current flow in one direction only. So what kind of current flow in one direction only? Mestilah arus terus. Okay, direct current. Arus terus direct current. So input signal is arus ulang alik alternating current. Output signal is arus terus direct current. Okay, name component X. So what is component X? So to understand component X, in this diagram we understand component X convert alternating current into direct current. So what is the name of the component? Convert AC into DC, nothing else but diode. Mestilah diode. What is the function of diode? Apa fungsi diode? Allow electric current to flow in one direction only. Hanya membenarkan arus elektrik mengalir dalam satu arah sahaja. Boleh ya? Okey, kita pergi soalan yang terakhir untuk hari ini. Ini contoh soalan esei lah. Soalan esei yang mengandungi 4 ataupun 5 markah. Okey, the first one, student. Basic. What is meant by semiconductor? Ini kefahaman yang asas. Apa maksud semiconductor? Cikgu dah bincang tadi in the earlier part of this video. Apa maksud semiconductor? What is meant by semiconductor? It is a material that has electrical conductivity or resistance between conductors and insulators. Senang saja, bahan yang mempunyai kekondaksian elektrik ataupun rintangan di antara konduktor dan penebat. Ataupun anda boleh tulis juga bahan yang mengkondaksikan elektrik lebih baik daripada penebat, better than insulator but poor than a conductor. Boleh terima tak jawapan seperti itu Cikgu Kok, Cikgu Izian? Boleh same meaning kan? Okay, kita tengok contoh soalan seterusnya. Okay, this is a question which carry 5 mark. You have to make a relationship and a deduction. Okay, so using this diagram 10.1 and 10.2, relate the lighting of the bulb, the current and the way the diode is connected to the terminal of the battery to deduce a relevant physics concept. Okay, normally some students have problems to answer this kind of question. Sometimes they write not enough answer. Okay, actually you have to read through the question. So for 5 marks, you have to write 5 points. Okay, so how to compare? First, you can see this bulb does not light up. It means that the semiconductor diode must now in reverse biased. Okay. For the second diagram, the bulb is light up, so we understand our diode is in forward bias. Okay. So macam mana nak tulis? So you can write in this way. First, diagram 10.1, bulb does not light up. Diagram 10.2, the bulb lights up. Ini apa yang boleh kita lihat? Okay, darjah 10.1 mentol tidak menyala. 10.2 mentol menyala. Okay, now why? Why one light up? Why another one does not light up? Because in diagram 10.1, no current flow in the circuit. Okay, whereas in diagram 10.2, current flow in the circuit. Kenapa tak menyala? Senang saja, 10.1 tak ada arus mengalir dalam litar. 10.2 arus mengalir dalam litar. Okay, why the first circuit current does not flow? Second circuit, why the current flow? So dia berterutan macam itu. So this is because in diagram 10.1, positive terminal of the dry cell connect to the n-type semiconductor. Or is now in reverse bias. Okay, whereas in diagram 10.2, the positive terminal of the dry cell connect to the p-type semiconductor or it is in forward bias. Anda ceritalah 10.1 terminal positif bateri sambung kepada semiconductor jenis N ataupun cathode. So dia jadi pincang songsang. Diagram raja 10.2 terminal positif bateri disambungkan kepada semiconductor jenis P ataupun anode. So dia jadi pincang depan. Okay, ini untuk yang ketiga. Okay, and then apa maksud dia? Apabila diode dalam pincang depan, okay, ini kita buat deduction. Okay, arus mengalir maka mentol menyala. Okay, diode in forward bias, so current flow, bulb light up. Okay, meanwhile, when the diode is in reverse bias, current does not flow, so the bulb does not light up. Ini dia punya hubung kait lah. Apabila diode dalam pincang songsang, arus tidak mengalir, maka kesimpulannya mentol tidak menyala. Okay, so ini adalah contoh-contoh soalan lah yang anda boleh cuba untuk anda faham tajuk yang pertama ini 5.2.1 iaitu describe the function of semiconductor diode. Okay students, so I guess that's all for today. So untuk minggu hadapan kita akan sambung bahagian yang kedua is to communicate about the function of semiconductor diode and capacitor as a rectifier. Okay, kita ada dua jenis lah, half wave rectification and full wave rectification. Apa fungsi semiconductor diode dan capacitor sebagai rectifier? Okay, so cikgu rasa itu saja untuk hari ini. Okay, cikgu nak ucapkan berbanyak-banyak terima kasih siapa yang follow daripada awal sampai sekarang, dan cikgu nak mohon maaf atas apa-apa kekurangan ataupun kalau jika ada kesilapan, semuanya itu adalah daripada kelemahan cikgu lah. Dan cikgu serahkan semula kepada moderator Cikgu Izian. Silakan Cikgu Izian.
Okey, terima kasih kepada Cikgu Hasnitah. Alhamdulillah dah selesai kelas kita pada petang ini. Cikgu nak ucapkan tahniah lah kepada semua yang setia daripada awal sehingga ke akhir lah pukul 3.20 insyaAllah. Okay, sebelum kita tamatkan sesi siaran langsung hari ini, mohon tutup ruangan chat dan juga klik butang subscribe. Aktifkan ikon loceng supaya kamu tak terlepas sesi kelas yang seterusnya. Jika anda suka dengan apa yang anda pelajari hari ini, boleh klik like dan share kepada rakan-rakan supaya kita dapat sebarkan ilmu dan juga beroleh kebaikan di atas perkongsian tersebut. Okey, link sijil akan diberikan, boleh didapatkan pada bahagian chat. Okey. Okey. Sila ambil perhatian, link tersebut akan tamat dalam tempoh setengah jam selepas live ini. Okay, pastikan anda login dengan email e-didik, MOE, MyGuru atau MyJawi. Okey, bahan ada juga di pinkan dekat chat tu bahan PDF kelas hari ini dan video semiconductor tadi. Okey. Okey, jadi sebelum cikgu tamatkan kelas pada petang ini, cikgu nak jemputlah control host kita, Cikgu Kok, untuk berikan sepatah dua kata.
Okey, terima kasih kepada belajar-belajar yang masih mengikut kami punya lesson. Okey, belajar form 5 rasa coming soon lah untuk trial exam. So anda boleh merujukkan semula apa yang kami live setiap minggu pada hari Jumaat dan juga hari Ahad. So ini boleh membantukan anda buat ulang kaji lah. Semasa anda dah belajar, anda nak lebih lanjut, anda boleh rujuk balik. Lepas tu ini boleh menolongkan anda menambahkan maklumat ataupun contoh-contoh atau contoh soalan. Okay, ini dapat buat ulang kaji lah. So ini ialah apa yang saya nak sampaikan untuk belajar form 5. Untuk form 4 punya belajar, anda boleh masih buat ulang kaji lah. Lepas tu ada exam akhir tahun kan. Belajar masih kerja silibus, cikgu masih kerja silibus untuk belajar. So yang lain-lain punya bab sebelum tu anda boleh buat latihan, rujuk balik apa yang cikgu ajar. Walaupun dah lepas, anda boleh ambil balik ulangan lah. Okay, itu ialah yang saya nak sampai kepada belajar. Terima kasih.
Okey, terima kasih Cikgu Kok. Memang betul. Apa-apa yang video yang telah kita hasilkan, Akademi YouTube hasilkan dan juga tuition, kelas tuition memang banyak manfaat. Cuma anda kena gunakan sebaiknya lah. Boleh share pada kawan-kawan lain. Kita manfaatkan semua yang cikgu-cikgu Akademi YouTuber dah buat. Okey, mungkin sebelum akhir kita boleh jemput presenter kita, Cikgu Hasnitah, kalau nak tambah sesuatu.
Okey, sedikit saja daripada saya. Yang pertama, pelajar-pelajar jangan lupalah isikan link sijil. Boleh isi sekarang, gunakan email MOE, email D5 pun boleh kalau anda tak ada email e-didik. Okey, dan seperti mana yang Cikgu Kok pesan tadi, okey, pelajar form 5 anda sekarang dalam zon-zon yang kritikal lah. Sekarang kita sudah hampir kepada percubaan, dan luangkanlah masa, gunakanlah masa sebaik mungkin. Tanyalah kepada guru anda di sekolah sekiranya anda ada apa-apa masalah dengan fizik. Jangan malu untuk bertanya, okey? Sebab guru-guru ni memang sentiasa akan berusaha pelajar-pelajar kita, dan gunakanlah video-video yang ada daripada guru-guru Akademi YouTuber, DLP dan bukan DLP, termasuklah video-video kelas live. Gunakanlah sebaiknya untuk membantu anda mengulang kaji, sebab kita mau bagi secara percuma saja, insyaAllah bermula percuma selamanya. Tak perlu bayar pun untuk join kelas kita ni, anda cuma perlu peruntukkan masa saja. Dan kalau anda tak dapat join live, boleh ikuti semula video ini. Dan semua mudah-mudahanlah diberikan kejayaan dan yang kita kena rajin usaha. Itu saja daripada cikgu. Yang selainnya kita serahkan kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Itu saja Cikgu Izzah. Terima kasih.
Okey, terima kasih Cikgu Hasnitah. Okey, terima kasih kepada semua penyokong Akademi YouTuber. Doakan cikgu-cikgu kami semua terus kuat dan bersemangat untuk membantu anda semua dan juga membangunkan pendidikan Malaysia. Sekian saja untuk kelas hari ini. Assalamualaikum. Bye.
Wow, banyaknya hadiah menarik menanti anda.
Wah, kini Akademi YouTuber mengambil inisiatif baru di mana memberikan hadiah-hadiah ini secara percuma. Ya, percuma kepada anda semua. Bagaimana caranya? Dengan mengikuti kelas tuition online percuma Akademi YouTuber sambil mengutip mata kredit, anda dapat menukarkannya dengan hadiah-hadiah yang menarik ini. Tunggu apa lagi? Segalanya percuma.
Jangan lepaskan peluang tau. Dah dapat banyak hadiah menarik, takkan nak lepaskan peluang.
Layari www.academyyoutuber.com sekarang untuk maklumat lanjut.
Dibawakan kepada anda oleh Akademi YouTuber.